Good morning, everyone. Making some videos today to keep up on things. I'll have more to come. Next video, I'm going to shoot this video on just a couple things with my morning eating, and then I'm going to shut this off and talk something about training. But first meal of the day, um, I got 8 whole eggs in a glass. As you can see, just like my buddy Johan, we drink. He drinks a couple dozen eggs a day. I drink anywhere from 16 to 24 eggs a day currently. It's one of the absolute best protein sources you can get, and the nutrient profile in yolks is unbeatable. There's everything inside of a yolk that an embryo needs to develop. So that should tell you something about what we need as far as development. Okay, so eggs are it. Nutritionally, nothing can beat eggs. From there we have, beef, chicken, fish, things like that. They all fall into a similar realm. And also big on organ meats. Everybody knows I like heart. Not a huge liver fan, but I eat it. I actually prefer to mix the liver. My fiance has a really good way. She makes her own jerky, which is pretty cool. She blends heart and kidney in a small percentage with a grass-fed ground beef, and then seasons it and makes it her own jerky in the oven, and then puts it in a sort of Ziploc bag that you can wash and reuse. Brings them to work and eats that. She makes her own Greek yogurt from goat's milk, throws a little bit of blueberries in there, has a couple sticks of jerky. That's a meal for her. One of the things that was really great meeting her is our the way we eat was very similar. So when you're a couple, that really helps. Most of my life, especially when I was competing in bodybuilding, everybody that I pretty much had dated in my past just ate your typical shit American diet, and I would always be, eating like a bodybuilder type diet. So dinners were usually, I would be sitting at the table watching people eat just to be there and then do my own thing. So it's nice because she eats a very similar diet to mine, very just ancient way of eating. And supplement profile, she uses the Humanifor products, and maybe I can get her to do a video and share some of the things that it's really helped with her as well. I was frustrated with her when I first met her before we ever became a couple. I was like, you need to start taking this. And she hemmed and hawed, and when she finally started taking it, she was beginning to get osteoporosis. Within 6 weeks, that was gone. Her fingernails have never grown like before. Her hair grows like never before. Her skin, she's 51 years old, and she's got the skin of a woman in her 30s, you know. Um, many benefits, So when she saw the benefits of it, she won't miss it. She takes one in the morning, one at night, every day the rest of her life, and just knows that she can create her own stem cells. Everybody pays a lot of money for stem cell therapy. With Humanifort, your body is able to create these stem cells on their own. It has the building blocks needed to create the stem cells, and the fibroblast growth factors actually trigger the stem cell creation. That's why I was able to regenerate heart tissue. I have a client right now that had liver enzyme problems and blood sugar issues for years. After a month on Humanifort, her blood sugars are now normal and her liver enzyme issues dropped. And I've seen this with multiple people. She also eats a decent diet, but she went full carnivore, and even on full carnivore, the liver enzyme stayed elevated and the blood sugar issue did not, get better 4 weeks on Humanofort, and that ironed out. And that was after even missing a couple weeks of taking it, because in those 4 weeks that she did, 4 or 5 weeks she did take it, it had already helped that much. Now I'm curious to see, now that she's going to be on it for a couple more months, we see some more blood work, how much better other things get. As a lot of people get older, a lot of these metabolic syndromes have to do with the lack of these growth factors. So rather than spin this off completely into a humanofort thing, drink these eggs. A lot of people, you just got to man up and do it. You plug your nose and drink them down. And it's the way I found to be easiest. I got sick of cooking 8 eggs a bunch of times a day, sitting down to eat them. I'm busy, I got things to do. So I'll show you, I just chug it. Pretty much just, they're not terrible, but they're not great either. But I just basically plug my nose, gulp 2 yolks at a time, and in 4 or 5 gulps, it's gone. And right there was 8 eggs. Okay. From there, um, just having 2 small pieces of toast with some olive oil on them. Now, see this toast? My fiance makes this. She uses sprouted spelt. Sprouted spelt. It's literally sprouted spelt in water. She gets a tub going of this stuff and ferments it and feeds it for days and days, and then eventually pours it in a couple pans, lets it rise overnight. Um, there's no yeast, no gluten, things like that. She just lets it rise naturally. The bacteria causes the bubbles to rise. It's very dense. It's very, very sour. So I toast it a little bit in the broiler and I pour olive oil on it. And it's absolutely delicious and no digestive issues. And it's kind of nice to have a piece of toast. But literally that's it, is organic sprouted spelt. So it's sprouted, organic spelt, water, ferment it, bake it. There you go. I cut a couple pieces off, usually a day, pour some olive oil on it, and eat it. There's part of my daily carbohydrate. So right there, I had 48 grams of protein. There's a little bit of protein in the spelt. It's plant-based, but you're going to absorb some of it, you know. From there, I hawk down an MMB, and I'll talk a little more about MMB 750 as we go along. But for gut health, as I've stated, Emmerich is a genius. Maybe he and I'll cover it. I think we might cover it with Dr. Serrano. We might do a video here pretty soon with Dr. Serrano talking about the MMB 750. Um, trying to see, man, I'm getting old, so some of these things, but he's also got he's big on humic and fulvic acid. Now, humic acid, fulvic acid, they come from the same source, but the fulvic acid's a liquid, 72 trace minerals. It's great for gut health and even getting rid of heavy metals in the body and giving us the trace minerals we need. It's made from breaking down plant life for millions of years. And then the humic acid is in a solid form, which is nice to come in here. Now, humic acid, because it's in the solid form, makes it to the colon, and it has colon health properties, okay? Then he's got a pre and probiotic blend in here that he did himself. He did a lot of research and found the best blend that he could, and then puts a small amount of Humanofort in here. The reason for that, Humanofort heals gut lining and grows the villi in the small intestine, which allows us to absorb 18% more of the nutrients that we eat. That's actually absorbing 18% more of the nutrients we eat is actually a very big thing. So, and talk about keep you regular. Okay. It's another product. The fiance takes one in the morning, one at night. She's had a lot of digestive issues, as I find a lot of women do, and I think some of it is stress. Some of it has to do with their they like she's one of those girls that's very conservative and uncomfortable that, she's got to go and probably holds it too long, whatever. And but taking the product, keeps her regular. Myself, I take just two at a time. I don't take one in the morning, one at night. I just take two of them at a time, and it's like clockwork. 6 to 12 hours later, something beautiful happens, and it's perfect. Well, don't want to get too involved in that, but and then if I ever have any issues above and beyond that, I'll take one more or something here or there. Um, when Emmerich first introduced this product to me, uh, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the distended stomachs of bodybuilders, it has nothing to do with growth hormone. And I'm going to go over that again, but it has mostly to do with sludge buildup from eating massive amounts of shit food, and it builds up in the small intestine, and a lot of these guys are walking around with 20 to 30 pounds of basic shit in their small intestine and colon. Um, there's been X-rays and MRIs done. Ronnie Coleman at one time was over 30 pounds he was carrying around in that big distended stomach. So when he was 320 pounds on stage, he could have been, say, 285 and had a much smaller waist and looked much, much better. Um, he would have looked bigger because he would have carried just as much muscle, but his waistline would have been much smaller. Ronnie ate like shit, and we'll go into it with Emmerich. Emmerich's a lot of the reason Ronnie Coleman is still alive. Um, in Emmerich's documentary filmed by Netflix, I believe they're going into part of it. And in one of Ronnie's videos, he openly admitted he was taking 6 Humanofort a day, and that was needed for his workout recovery and to balance his triglycerides out because in the off season, Ronnie ate like shit. Fried chicken, pizza, you name it. And then on top of the drugs that Chad Nichols had him taking, and Ronnie did not need to take all the stuff Chad Nichols had him taking, but Chad back then, I don't want to talk anymore about Chad. It'll just piss me off. But um, Ronnie's one of the few people that worked under Chad that didn't have heart or kidney issues. And Emmerich was working for Balco Labs back in the day and liked Ronnie and was friends with Joe Weider, got Ronnie his contract with Joe Weider and helped Ronnie keep his health in line. Ronnie wouldn't listen to anything because Chad was telling him to do this, and Ronnie was winning the Olympia and believed in Chad. The thing is it was because he was Ronnie Coleman, and no matter what coach would have worked with him, he would have been Ronnie Coleman. But Emmerich is such a caring guy, he at least got Ronnie to listen to him to an extent with, taking the Humanofort and making a few changes to the diet in the off season. And it's a large part of why Ronnie's alive to this day. So uh, the olive oil I've been using is this company right here. You can see there's like a horse with an olive branch on it. It's organic Terra Delisa first cold pressed organic extra virgin olive oil. It's got like a thing where you can trace it from its source. Um, and I've gone into it before. You don't want a place that sources their olive oil from multiple places. A lot of times that's been cut with grapeseed oil and things like that. This is from one place. It's very proven, and the price is really decent. So I get a liter of this for like $17. So I go through a liter of this every week, week and a half, and that saves me a few bucks because this is a very high quality olive oil, and you're not, for what quality it is, a lot of times you're paying twice as much as that. Anyway, I'm going to eat my fermented organic sprouted spelt toast with some olive oil, and I'll be right back to talk about some training. Bye.